So every good go-to-market strategy has several aspects to it, but one of the most visible aspects is obviously the design. We talk a lot about infrastructure and messaging and all those things, but if somebody comes and you successfully get them an email and invite them to the website, and the website doesn't connect with the buyer and doesn't demonstrate authority, then they're never going to do business with you, right, Becca?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So obviously, you have been with us for a while and you've seen kind of the evolution in our branding and even our opinion towards design. I was a data scientist for 20 years before I started Cantalo. So for me, the design doesn't have very much importance. For me, it's all about the data. But the data shows that if the customer can't relate to the brand, and if they can't find the content that they're looking for, and if it doesn't demonstrate a level of authority, then they're not going to be your customer, or if they are for not for very long. So, what's kind of your concept on applying branding to a go-to-market strategy?
Well, basically, literally, when people think about graphic design, many still think that it's something pure visual. They think that design is only about how things look or if it's attractive. But especially in business and in marketing, design has become much more than that, obviously. And it's actually one of the most parts of a successful go to market strategy. This design is basically what people see, what people connect with. So if you don't have like a strong um, a visual strategy, good graphic design strategy, you don't have anything because that's how people the first things what that clients see through
Hmm.
a company.
Yeah, I mean, if you Google search Globox.email or Globox, you're going to see a list of pages, and you're going to see the meta on the side. And if that's not designed properly, the messaging is highly important. But if it doesn't connect, especially if there are images or anything like that, then you're never going to click on the site. And if you do click on the site, if you can't look and see, Jeb Blount always talks about the hero section. You log in and you see a hero tag and a design on the front. And if you can't see and consume and immediately understand what that page is about and how it relates to you personally, you're going to bounce.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and using that same example, if a website looks outdated or messy or just ugly, people or client are gonna start to questioning the credibility of the company. And that's where it all falls apart.
Yeah, and I mean, so much is based off of authority and prestige, especially today. And what we're seeing a lot of is we're seeing a lot of misapplication of artificial intelligence. Now, we use artificial intelligence because, of course, we do. If you say that you are doing marketing and you're not using artificial intelligence, then you're not doing it. Not in 2026, not really. But we also see a lot of write me a website about X. Cool, publish it, let's go. The build me a logo for my roofing company, build me a logo for my SaaS company, take it, publish it, and go. And you end up with one, something that was obviously built by AI for AI. And two, it doesn't have like the brand doesn't tell a story.
Exactly.
And that's really important because you're not doing business with a brand, you're doing business with a person. And so the brand has to tell the story of the people that you're going to work with, or especially in services and SaaS where you're inviting somebody into your process. And there's nothing more sacred than your business process. So, how do you balance the application of artificial intelligence with the application of a human professional doing their job?
I use it in my favor because it's not it. I feel like it's more of a tool that I can use so to use it in my favor because every color, every font style, every layout, image, or including visual elements sends a message to the client, to a person, that how does a brand work, or how does a brand communicate. Even when companies are not intentionally creating a visual strategy, they're still communicating something through design. So that's how important is, the design in the brand of a company. And AI, I think it's making I think we the most important part is that we use it in our favor instead of it.
Yeah, so use it to elevate and accelerate your work, but not
Exactly.
to replace the you in the work.
Exactly. Couldn't say it better.
I will try. So you wrote an article for our site, and a lot of people come to us and they're like, "Well, we don't need designers anymore because like AI can do it." We talked a little bit about why that really doesn't work, but how exactly go to market strategy or the sales strategy of how I take my company and approach the market? Where does design fit into a GTM?
Well, I think that a go-to-market strategy is basically the plan that a company uses to launch a product or maybe a service, right? So it includes things like marketing, sale, and even audience and the messaging. But the thing that connects all of that is design. Design is what transforms the ideas into experiences that people can actually understand and remember and connect with. So that's that's my thought in it. And I think that today people are really exposed to hundreds and hundreds of brands and pieces of content every single day, and that's why attention is very difficult to capture. And even, I mean, that alone is not enough anymore for a GTM strategy. That's where a design and brands also need to build trust very quickly, and that's we as graphic designers come in.
Yeah, I remember watching a restaurant, one of the restaurant wars or something like that, where somebody was going into a restaurant and telling them how to restore their business profitability. And they looked at the menu and said, "Hey, wait a second. Why do you have a square around this dish? Oh, we like it the most." No, no, no. You highlight the dish that makes you the most money. So that way your eye immediately falls on the dish that has the highest margin or the highest revenue. Design can make your eye go to the thing that you want the user to look at or see. So if we're looking for a customer that sells things on Amazon, I mean, everybody sells things on Amazon. Your product must stand out. If
Yes.
you're doing an ad somewhere or you're on YouTube, my 12-year-old nephew has a YouTube channel, literally. Both of his followers love him. He's 12 years old. He has 6 people on a YouTube channel, but everybody and their nephew has a YouTube channel. How does yours stick out? And before it was me taking a video, publish it to YouTube. I had, well, what did I have? 15 followers. Then we applied brand, and we created a logo for the YouTube channel, and we branded the sequence on the videos, and we applied a storytelling through design. And that brought us up to, I think we're at 16,000 or close to it. We have hundreds of watch hours per week. We've got something that you could call early traction. And that happened because the design set us apart and made us look professional.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I'm almost dying when you ask me for a logo in 2 days.
Do you think that's too much time?
I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
No, I get it. And for me, a logo is for me, at least historically, a logo is one of the things that you have to have because you have to have it, not because I want it. It's like, oh man, I got this idea. Let's build a logo. And actually, I like the fact that I can go on to an AI designer, get a logo, pick the colors I like, pick the overall design I like. But then I hand it to you and I say, here's a couple options of what I like. And you look and go, that's going to look bad on Instagram. That's not going to, you can't turn that into a logo for your shirt. There's 16 colors in it. So then you take that as an inspiration. And I do this all the time. On December 15th, I had the idea for the product behind Glowbox. And 2 weeks later, I was testing it. And then I handed it to the infrastructure guys and it couldn't work in production. So then they had to take what I built and use it as the inspiration. to build something that actually works is what we have now. And that is a good application of AI. Build something as a prototype fast, build something to demonstrate the direction that you're going in, but then hand it to the professional that understands this has to be able to work in multimedia. You're going to maybe have a sign for your building made. You're going to have logos for your shirt, business cards, all this stuff. This needs to translate into multiple areas and still carry the same brands.
Yes, absolutely.
And Javi's been trying to get that point across to me for 8 years. So, whatever frustration level you have about it, I'm sure you and Javi could talk about it in depth. But
Yeah, yeah. Don't worry.
believe me, I'm not. But okay, so go to market strategy design's really important. Is it just about building something that stands out, or what are some things that you really have to take into consideration as your goals when you're building the visual part of your business story?
Well, you know that every project is different, has different goals, but something that I need to consider is that who am I speaking to? What's the audience? What are the challenges? And that's I think that's what the design should always start by understanding the product, the client, the audience, and the goals, you know, the message before creating the visuals. So that's everything that I take in consideration because we are communicating, we are sending a message, and that's it's not only about the visual thing, it's about how people connect with it. So I think that a lot of designers can add value much earlier in the process, more like most than most people think, you know. Designers are not just there to execute it or just to put it like pretty or something like that. We help you to improve your brand, the clarity, this to simplify experiences.
Yeah, and I talk about this with messaging. Two event planners. One does weddings, the other does funerals. Weddings, if somebody signs up for information about the wedding planning, the email could say, "We are so excited to plan your event. What a great day." And if the funeral coordinator comes in, "We're so excited to partake in," no, that's not going to work, right? So, and the same can be said for the visual part. Something that is good for surfboard company is not going to work for a tax accounting company. And something that works for a tax accounting company could be very, very boring for an exotic car manufacturing company. These are the visual design does actually directly impact the product, the go to market strategy, and how people view your brand. And I know if you're talking to a marketing person, they get that right off the bat. If you're talking to a SaaS startup company, a lot of times maybe they don't get that. I can't tell you how many times I built software and then had people come back and say, "Hey, can you apply this UX real quick? Or can you really quickly change the logo or make the logo so I could change it on the fly?" And all those things technically are possible, especially today. But at the same time, why aren't we considering who our story is, who our customer is, and how we're presenting ourselves and telling the story of who we are visually to our customer before we.
Exactly.
Well, but we're going to be hearing a lot more from you. I think you're going to be talking a little bit about how branding is more than a logo next week.
Yes.
I look forward to interviewing you and talk a little bit more about that. I think it might be a good idea for us to next time pop open my spam folder and look through there and see one, the messaging, but tie that back to their site and just take a look to see if the design is telling a better story than the messaging in my spam folder is, and see if there's some things that can kind of mash that up. People don't I don't feel that it is very obvious right off the beginning how to visually tell a story when you're planning a product launch. Especially once you consider, man, I'm doing a lot of SEO work, and SEO is part infrastructure, part content, part design, part voodoo and black magic. Like, there's got to be witchcraft or wizardry involved in SEO somewhere along the lines. Just the same way there is a science and an art involved in branding and brand design.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks.